We're living through this massive foundational shift. It's honestly as big as the Industrial Revolution. The very definition of what it means to be a leader is being completely rewritten right before our eyes, moving away from those old factory floor rules and into a brand new world run on the logic of AI.
So, I've got to ask you a question. And be honest, is your leadership playbook obsolete? Because all those command and control tactics that built empires in the last century, they're becoming relics, fast. Especially in a world where your top performer might not even be human.
This slide really gets to the heart of it, doesn't it? It frames the core conflict perfectly. The old school manager, they directed people. They measured your effort. Their power came from their title, from their authority. But the new leader, the orchestrator, they coordinate output. They measure value. And their power? It comes from their credibility. It's a huge shift from just overseeing tasks to actually mobilizing capabilities.
Okay, so let's dive into our first big idea here, what we're calling the end of management. It's not just a catchy phrase. The old rules simply cannot keep up with the speed and the sheer complexity of the world we live in now.
I mean, just think about it for a second. Leadership value used to come from knowing things the team didn't. The boss had the information, the secret sauce. But now, we're all flooded with real-time data. We have AI that can spot patterns a human brain could never see. That advantage is just gone. Being a leader isn't about having all the answers anymore. It's about asking the right questions.
So, if that old model is broken, what's taking its place? Well, that brings us to the new paradigm for this new era, the rise of orchestration. And AI orchestration is the key concept you need to understand. This isn't just about automating a couple of boring tasks. No, it's about weaving everything together. The automated processes, the deep human expertise, the AI systems into one seamless operation. The leader isn't a factory foreman anymore. They're the conductor of a symphony, leading both human and digital players to create something amazing.
And this table just lays it all out so clearly. Just look at the metrics. We're shifting from valuing effort and hours worked to measuring value creation and outcomes. Or look at the role of AI. It's not just a fancy new tool, it's a collaborative teammate. Even the very basis of authority is changing, moving from a rigid hierarchy to who has the best adaptability and judgment. This changes absolutely everything.
Now, I know what you might be thinking. This all sounds huge, maybe even a little overwhelming. But the good news is, this isn't a light switch you just flip overnight. It's a journey, and there's a clear roadmap for this transformation, broken down into 4 manageable stages.
But before we even look at that roadmap, you have to see this number, 70%. A staggering 70% of the challenges in getting AI to work aren't about the tech or the code, they're about people, process, and leadership. This proves it, right? Success in the age of AI is fundamentally a leadership challenge, not a tech problem.
Okay, so here's that roadmap. It all starts with the foundation. You got to build the infrastructure, set the rules. Then you move to cultivation, where you start using AI for very specific things in your business. Stage 3 is enhancement, and that's where the magic really starts to happen. True human-AI collaboration. And finally, stage 4 is autonomy, where the leader's job shifts from directing the work to governing these powerful AI-driven systems.
And look, this isn't just some academic theory. The numbers don't lie. The gains are real. Just getting the foundation right in stage 1 can give you a 15 to 20% productivity boost. Then, moving into stage 2 can pile on another 25 to 40%. We're talking about tangible bottom-line value, not science fiction. So all of this is building up to what is probably the single most critical new skill for any leader today, making decisions with AI as your partner.
Okay, now you gotta see this. A fascinating study from MIT and Harvard asked people to spot fake hotel reviews. And the results are probably not what you'd expect. You'd think the human working with the AI would be the most accurate, right? Nope, the AI all by itself was actually better. That is a massive wake-up call.
So, what's the big takeaway here? That study proves the most important skill isn't just knowing how to use the tool. It's developing the sophisticated judgment to know when to trust the AI's answer and, just as importantly, when to override it with your own intuition and your understanding of the context. That sense of discernment, that's the new leadership superpower.
At the end of the day, it really boils down to these 3 things. In a world with infinite data, the skills that are more valuable than ever are uniquely human: judgment, empathy, and what we call contextual intelligence.
The AI can crunch the numbers, but it can't understand the nuance or feel what a customer is feeling. That's our job in this new partnership.
And that partnership leads us to our final piece of the puzzle, this idea of leading a dual workforce. You have to start thinking of your team as two distinct but connected parts. You've got your human workforce, focus on strategy, creativity, and judgment. And then you have your AI agents, your digital workforce, responsible for execution and doing things at scale.
You know, the CEO of Replit, Amjad Masad, he just nailed it when he said this. The core challenge for leaders now is communication clarity. But it's not just about being clear with your people anymore. It's about being just as clear with your machines. Your ability to translate your big ideas into precise instructions for both humans and AI is everything.
And if you want a real-world, mind-blowing example of this in action, just look at Piter Levels. This guy generates $3 million a year in revenue. And his headcount? 0. Not a single employee. He has essentially replaced entire departments with a beautifully orchestrated system of AI and automation. Leverage has completely replaced headcount.
So what does this all mean for you? It means the future of work is modular. Those static job titles we're all used to, they're an industrial age relic. Today's great leaders are orchestrating a fluid, dynamic ecosystem of talent, some full-time people, some part-time experts, and a growing team of AI agents, all brought together to achieve a specific outcome.
And listen, don't think for a second this is some far-off sci-fi future. We're talking about 2026. That is right around the corner. The prediction is clear. Within just a couple of years, every single manager will be leading two workforces, one human and one digital.
Look, this isn't a question of if anymore. It's a question of when, and when is now. The future of leadership has already arrived. So the only real question left is, are you ready to stop managing and start conducting?